Good morning, everyone. This is Bryan Shupe. I'm a state representative for the 36th District. I'm also a small business owner in Milford. My wife and I own Fur Baby Pet Resort and the Pharmacy Market in downtown Milford. Today is a really special day for our family. I, along with 40 other individuals that represent their district, will be sworn in to the 153rd General Assembly, meaning that today will start the legislative session for 2025 and 2026. It is a great honor to be your state representative, to be able to have the privilege to listen to your ideas, to your wants, to your desires, to how you want your future of your district and your state of Delaware to be, and to be able to go up to Dover and be your voice of reason. Um, it is humbling to be able to be in that position. And today started like no other. I have a routine that I follow. I get up around 5:30. I got to get the kids up for school. I sit in bed with them for a little bit and a little bit easy on them. I don't just shake them to get them up, and we talk a little bit. We get them ready for breakfast. We start sharing stories. Of course, we have no screen time before school, no screens whatsoever, including myself. I don't get on my phone before I drop them off for school. And it got me thinking about the habits that we have every single morning. And interesting enough, yesterday, this book was delivered to my house. It's called Habits of the Household, Practicing the Story of God in Everyday Family Rhythms. And it got me thinking. I started reading this book this morning. So after breakfast, after the kids go to school, I take at least half an hour and I read the Bible. Sometimes I have specific things I'm reading. Right now I'm reading Proverbs. I feel like that is where I need to be going into the General Assembly. It's from King Solomon, talks about wisdom, talks about the righteous versus the wicked, and how to make sure that you are listening to wisdom. And it's really speaking to me in a time where I'm going to be listening to a lot of voices, a lot of people with a lot of different interests, and I need to be listening to God, and I need to be listening to His wisdom. But after that, I always read a book. So I got about an hour to myself, and I read the Bible, and then I read a book. And this book by Justin Earley is an interesting one. I just started reading it, Habits of Household, Practicing the Story of God in Everyday Family Rhythms. And it talks about how these rhythms and how these habits are so important, not only for ourselves. We practice habits a lot for ourselves, for business, for our workplace, for our daily habits as we wake up or we get ready for bed in the evening, but also for our families, also for our spiritual life as Christians, and also as a community as a whole. And I want us to take a moment in 2025 to think about that. And a lot of people, I think, in this day and age, will push back against habits, push back against rituals, because they think about that is the old way things are done and we need something new. But there are ways that these habits and these rituals have played to put very positive, life-giving forces into our community. And I want us to think about what are those rituals and what are those habits that have made our community focus on positive things, and how can we continue to do those. This book talks about what I've read so far, and something I wanted to bring to your attention, talks about being intentional with your habits, being intentional with your habits for your family. And the reason why Early asks you to be intentional with your habits is because he says, if you're not intentional with your habits, the way that you do things is a culture, and other people will set your habits for you. So if you're not intentional with the habits of what you watch, what you digest, what you consume, the way that you do things, the things that you read, the things that you appreciate, the things that you listen to, the things that come into your body, whether it be through eating or listening, or the things that you read, culture and other people will dictate that for you. And you will start to produce something of this world. And he talks about this idea that we should be of this world, we should be in this world, but not of this world. And I thought that was really amazing. Um, he talks about how if we allow culture to create our habits, we will see, and I'm reading directly from the book, we will see habits of unceasing screen time, unending busyness, unrivaled consumerism, unmitigated addictions, and unparalleled distractions. And I wonder how many of us, including myself, have dealt with those very things in our lives because we allow for culture and for other people to dictate what our habits are. I had a terrible, terrible time of scrolling on social media years ago, and that talks to the unceasing screen time and the unparalleled distractions. Um, the unending busyness and even the unmitigated addictions about screen time, just continually scrolling on and on and on. And a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I told myself I want to lessen my screen time because my children are getting a little bit older. They're 8 and 5 now. At the time they would have been, Theo would have just been born and Evelyn would have been about 5 years old. And I said I want to spend more time with them and I want to get off the screen. I'm also seeing a lot of negative things on the screen that I don't want to fill my life with. I want to fill it with more positive things. So I said to myself, as I stop this habit, is there a more positive habit that I can fill it with? And the thing that I came up with immediately was filling it with reading books, because I can choose what the book is. I can look at the synopsis. I can read in the front cover or in the back and see what this book is about. And I can spend hours reading about something directly that I choose to read about. So I replaced reading a book. Every time that I picked up my phone and I wasn't on there doing doing something for work, or I wasn't on there searching for something positive, I was just scrolling just to kill time, which all of us do. I started to put down my phone and pick up a book. And in the first year alone, I've read 42 books. The year before, I maybe read 3 or 4 books. Shamefully, I read 3 or 4 books the year before. And in the next year, I read 42 books, and my life literally changed by all the things that I was reading. I was reading books that were fun. Yeah, it was fun, but also I was reading books that encouraged me to do things in my community in a positive way, ways to help my family, my kids, but also my parents, in my relationship with my wife, things about faith that helped me on that journey as well. And it improved my life so much by doing that. Now I just saw the other day, I'm down to 3.5 hours, including work, on my phone, which still seems like a lot to me, but it is a huge improvement to where I was before. Um, I fill now my time more with listening to people in person, going and having coffee with people and talking to them, and having sit down conversations with people and listening to them and researching and looking up case law, looking up reading books on things that I would really want to discover and really need to know things about. As I talk about this, the really funny thing is, like, this is exactly what we all did before the internet came out. Like, this was just life, and but it brings me so much joy to be able to return to that, to be able to return to just speaking with people, to just be reading books about the things that I enjoy, to be connecting to my community in a real way. And that is the habits that we can all set on our life. We don't have to allow culture or other people to set um, this habit that we have to be on our screens as soon as we wake up. We can set this habit of being with our family in the morning, to talk with our family about what's important to them, and creating these great relationships with our little kids that are going to blossom into these lifelong journeys, which are going to mean so much more to us and so much more to them than is liking a post or replying to a post, or just having a heart emoji to somebody in the morning when you wake up. Um, One thing that I would encourage you to do is first of all read this book, Habits of the Household. It is I'm reading it right now. It's an amazing book. It's really good, especially as you start 2025 to start to look at what are some positive habits and small habits that we can put in. One small habit that the author Justin Early put into practice in his life that I'm going to start putting into it is talking about when he puts his kids down to bed, he sends a little blessing to them. But then afterwards, when he leaves their room, he's got 5 boys. I don't know how he handles that. Oh my goodness. But each one of them, when he leaves the room, he prays by their door. And I want to start doing that because I think it's really important to start thinking about focusing on your family, not within the world every single day of what you're dealing with, but focusing on them as part of your family. What do you want? What do you want to pray for? What do you want to think about as them as part of your family and within the habits that you share as a family? And also, I love that he prays for them as individuals and not just as my kids. He takes time to pray outside of each one of their doors and ask for God for guidance in the individual things that they are excited about, the things that they have challenges with, and how he can, as a father, build a relationship not only with his children, but with them as individuals, as they're individually going through this life with him. And that's something that I want to start, and that this book has really allowed me to look into. So, again, as we go into 2025, I want to bless all of you and say, our focus really should be on our community, or really should be on our families. And I know there is a lot of cultural pressure to think about national politics and world politics and the destruction that are going on um, with natural disasters around the world. And those things are important. And we should pray for those people. We should help out as we can, whether that means physically helping out with our hands or donations or prayers or whatever that may be. We should we should focus on our community and our families, because I do believe as a father that the best thing we can do as individuals is focus on our families and make sure that we are working to have a family that gives back, that is positive, that believes in godly work. And if we raise children that believe in the love of God, our community is going to be one that takes care of each other, that chooses love over hatred, and that wants to bring together a force for good. Um, I hope to see you guys up at Legislative Hall later today, and I pray over your families for 2025. And I'm looking forward to a great year with all of you. God bless you, and I will talk with all of you very soon.